Hello guys and welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. Once again I'm Greg and this is the starting 11 show. We have Fulham, of course, huge game. Fulham in pretty poor form. Of course Mitrovic injured and they're on the beach a little bit. They know they're not going to break Europe, they know they're not going to get relegated. So if we can leverage that complacency and the three teams below us have very tough games this weekend, we can start to create a little bit of ground, a little bit of distance between us and those relegation spots, but it really is a huge game for us after what was quite a monster run-in that we somehow picked a few points up out of. Injury news, Deitch says DCL is training, and we knew that already, but is being very non-committal about whether he will play or not, as is the Deitch way. So I won't be considering him here just because I don't want to get anyone excited for a DCL return. And we also know no Coleman due to a hamstring injury. Decore still suspended as well. So it's hard to know what to do. It felt like we found a bit of a rhythm under Deitch in terms of shape. We had the midfield three, a bit of a Decore renaissance. He was getting very much involved in our goals tally in terms of his contributions to attacks. Against United, we changed things a little bit. To compensate for the lack of Decore, and it looked like we started with Sims and Gray, and it didn't work. It was one game, what was it, 21 shots we faced in the first half. We were in no control. We were lucky to have Pickford there to keep that at the fairly respectable goal line, but tactically we got completely outclassed in that game. It was somewhat embarrassing. 2-0 loss doesn't look that bad on paper considering how we came through that run with points, but the nature of it did put a bit of the fear of God into me. In terms of how we're going to fare, I would assume we'll go back to the shape we know here and find a more like-for-like Decore replacement as opposed to changing the shape, changing the system, and risking losing the momentum that we had in previous games. So looking at the team, Pickford of course in goal. I think the back line is again a confusing one. Coleman out. I'd say he's probably replaced by Patterson here. Feels like the most natural replacement. I talked a bit about when Deitch came in. We'll likely see Holgate and Godfrey being used in those wider defensive areas, and Godfrey has been being deployed at left back. I think Patterson's the more natural fit here. So Patterson on the right. We'll keep the favourites. Keane and Tarkowski, of course, very Deitchian players. Then at the left, the question is what happens with Godfrey. He was being really exploited by United. A few balls over the top of him. He actually got back and made a few really nice last-minute tackles, but the issue was he was putting himself in that position a little bit, or the formation was, and he was hooked off at half-time because of it. For Mikalenko, I think we go back to him here. If the shape goes back to normal, I think Deitch isn't going to want to hook him from the team completely. I think we will see it start with Godfrey. Midfield, we can assume Gay and Onana will retain their places. And the question is, who is the fit for Decore in front? Will it be Iwobi, who loves to play inside, but played inside a little bit more against United and couldn't string two passes together? Do you go for someone like James Garner and make the midfield three a little bit more flat, but rely on Garner to have a bit more creative output and find balls that connect where Decore's legs would be expected to do that? It's very tough. I think we do see James Garner in there, and maybe Onana is the player that's deployed a little bit more forward in that three, but I imagine it will just be a little bit more flat. Of course, McNeil out on the left, another favourite. I think you see Iwobi out on the right. And then the question comes down, of course, to Gray or Sims. I think revert back to type. I think when you have an experiment fail, as did against United, you sort of revert to type a little bit when you were in better form before that. And that's Gray up front for the first X amount of minutes, and then an Ellis Sims super sub. But there's so many ways this could be different. We could look at Sims and Gray up front and a flat 4-4-2. You could look at Tom Davis in midfield. You could have Iwobi inside as the number 10. Damari Gray out on the right and Ellis Sims up front, which I personally like the look of a lot more than what I've got written down here. But I'm just going with what I think we might see based on prior decision making and the sort of Dyche system. So that's Pickford in goal, Patterson, Keane, Tarkowski and Godfrey. Godfrey could of course be Mikalenko. Anana, Gay and Garner as a midfield three. Iwobi and McNeil out wide and Damari Gray up front. Let me know if you guys would go with the option I suggested, which would be Sims up front and Gray out one side, Iwobi inside. Is this midfield a little too lightweight? Maybe I don't know. Certainly the front line looks a little lightweight with Gray, Iwobi and McNeil. There's no one really throwing their weight around in there, but we'll see. Let me know what you guys think. There's a few points of contention there. Left back, the more attacking midfield options and up front. So, design your team. Let me know in the comments, and hopefully we can beat Fulham here, carry on, pick up on some momentum, and start to carry ourselves away from that relegation zone a little bit. Cheers, guys. I will see you in the next one.